Did you see a shift in the strategy? Kamala mentions Gaza without a protester yelling about it. It took Trump going to Dearborn for her to start off her Michigan rally with Gaza. I'm literally going to suck down a fucking Glock. Oh my God. I jokingly said that the fucking pro-Palestinian demonstrators should say that they're voting for Trump and that they're Trump supporters in an effort to get the fucking Democrats to respond a couple weeks ago. As a joke, I said, wouldn't it be funny if the Democrats responded to the pro-Palestinian demonstrators that say that they're going to vote for Donald Trump because the only person that they ever care about is a Trump supporter and they just only have one position, and that is how do we court Trump supporters? It turns out that that is the case. I was just jokingly saying that, and it turns out the Democrats were like, oh my God, they're pro-Trump. What the fuck? We love them now. If they had done this like, I don't know, 6 months ago, Kamala Harris probably be talking about dismantling the Zionist entity by now. Fucking 2 days out from an election. I need to hear this. This is going to hurt my fucking soul, but I need to do it.
And we are joined today by leaders of the Arab American community, which has deep and proud roots here in Michigan. And I want to say, this year has been difficult, given the scale of death and destruction in Gaza, and given the civilian casualties and displacement in Lebanon. It is devastating. And as president, I will do everything in my power to end the war in Gaza. To bring home the hostages.
By the
and
way,
the suffering.
By the way, that crowd reaction is organic. It's real. That's what's really frustrating about this is that, like, this is what she should have been saying since the moment that she became the candidate. Like, literally, this is what she should have said at the DNC. This is what she should have said the moment she became candidate, and maybe even gone further than this. No, this is different than everything else that she said thus far. You are wrong. The reason why this message is so much better than every other time she's talked about it is because she's not contextualizing the death and destruction by saying Israel has a right to defend itself. Of course it's different. She's not saying Israel has a right to defend itself. She's not saying October 7 was the singular worst tragedy of all time and what came after it is, it's kind of bad too. She did not open with Hamas October 7. Mass rapes occurred on October 7 directed by Hamas. Babies were burned alive or any of that other shit.
In Gaza, ensure Israel is secure, and ensure the Palestinian people can realize their right to dignity, freedom, security, and self-determination.
She still said ensure Israel's defense, but I mean, that's fine. That's nowhere near as bad as framing the conversation about October 7 being the pivotal moment, which then justifies at least some of the atrocities that Israel has committed. But again, 2 days away, too little, too late. Or this is not me saying we can push her left, by the way. Make no mistake. This is me getting even more mad because now I am genuinely of the mindset that these guys are just actually fucking stupid. There was a moment where I was like, they're laying it on so thick with like Richie Torres being deployed to Michigan, and then fucking Bill Clinton being deployed to Michigan to be like, the Arabs are barbaric and they deserve to be killed and slaughtered, and Judea and Samaria belong to Israel. Am Israel, ha, like all that shit. Like I was like, oh, they're just like actually fucking cutting. They're reframing this issue as like sectarian conflict, the classic like canard. Oh, this is a 1,000-year war. We can't deal with it. It's just Jews versus Muslims. Like, it's all fucking bullshit, right? Like, the way that they communicated this for so long made me feel like I don't even think that they're stupid. I think that they were like cynically and deliberately trying to give people the permission to say, fuck the Muslims. This is just a Muslim issue. Fuck them. Cut him out of the coalition. The fact that she is now communicating this position 2 days out from the election after Donald Trump went and did that shameless fucking pandering bullshit in Dearborn makes me feel like, no, they are that stupid. That they straightforwardly and legitimately thought, like, nobody gives a fuck about Gaza. Come on, these guys are just Muslims. No one cares. They're not human. That is insane.
And we continue to work on a diplomatic resolution across the Israel-Lebanon border to protect civilians and provide lasting stability.
I mean, this stuff is all bullshit too. Like, come on. No, you don't. You're not doing that. Like, it's still empty words, and it's like a marginal change in the appropriate direction, and it came it's like too little too late. It came 2 days before. I make no mistake. I need you to understand something here. The fact that she could dignify voters with a lie that isn't even like framed well enough, but the mere fact, the actual fact that they were to even dignify the Michigan population with a fucking lie 2 days prior, only after Donald Trump was like, I love the Palestinians, like I'm eating Palestinian kebab. That blows my mind, dude. That means that they were actually stupid. That means that they literally did not think that this was a problem at all. Like, they didn't perceive this as a problem at all. Yeah, she saw the fucking slammed 49-49 split, and then saw Donald Trump visiting Dearborn and being like, I love my Arabs and Muslims, and was like, actually, now that they're actually Republican voters, we can court them. Why is Harris speaking like this? Jeet here says, the New York Times reports the Trump campaign's research found that up for grabs voters were about 6 times as likely as other battleground state voters to be motivated by their views on Israel's war in Gaza. The worry is Harris started too late. Who could have foreseen this? Who could have told you this? Who has been telling you this? Unbelievable. This Palestinian Lebanese victim-centered rhetoric only came after Trump courted Arab voters in Dearborn. For months, we've been screaming about a change in Israel policy/rhetoric being the morally correct and politically sound decision. Now it's likely too late.
As president, I will work tirelessly toward a future with security and
How is what she said different than what she's been saying all along? The last sentence I heard her say bar from bar before. Guys, optics matter in every single word, and every single word is weighted differently. What word she uses before the other matters in this situation. Okay, this isn't fucking Donald Trump. Democrats are very careful with the language that they use. Centering, I'm pointing to it right here. This language is centering the victims of Israel's genocidal campaign, as opposed to centering Israel as a victim of Hamas, which is what she has done over and over again. She didn't start out with October 7. She didn't start out with like Israel has a right to defend itself. Like, all this stuff is very important. The problem is this is too little too late. And she didn't fucking say, she didn't say this as a response to a protest. She came out of the gates swinging with it. Millions of people have voted already. You want her to come out and say Israel's an evil genocidal nation, we will never support them again? You're so fucking stupid. Yeah, that would be a really good argument if that's the one I made, except I've never made that argument. Yeah, that would be the correct position, that Israel is doing genocide. It is objectively the correct thing. And that is how I foresee future history books writing the matter. And that is how I foresee you lying to your fucking children, if you ever have children in the future, being like, oh yeah, I was always against that shit. Having said that, for the time being, I understand that it's not something that she can say as an American president. That's not what I'm expecting of her. There are a million different ways in which she could massage an appropriate position that is not only morally correct, but also politically sound. But the goddamn Democrats never respond to anything until Republicans do something, because they are also reactionary. She doesn't even need to say anything. She needs to say America is a nation of laws. One of those laws is that we cannot give weapons, and working towards a ceasefire is the correct position. Working towards a ceasefire is the correct position. The problem is America has a lot more fucking tools in the tool belt to push Israel into a ceasefire. America has made Israel do things that Israeli officials don't want to do time and time again historically. The difference in this circumstance is no one is even communicating that deliberately, because they're scared shitless of coming across as hardliners on Israel's actions. There is no real work required in this process. All it is a phone call. The Biden admin was proposing to send only defensive weapons and not proposing. Dog, the Biden admin doesn't need to do any of that. They need to have a phone call that's private with Benjamin Netanyahu where Biden says, no more weapons if you keep this shit up. It's over. As a matter of fact, they did just that in 2021. Biden called Benjamin Netanyahu and said, it's done. It's over. And it was the next day. It's that simple. Israel doesn't get to do anything without our go-ahead. So shut the fuck up about this. Oh, the Biden administration is working tirelessly around the clock for a ceasefire or proposing to send only defensive weapons and non-offensive weapons. Like, who are you fucking fooling? What are you talking about? The dumbest fucking American who is illiterate still understands that what Biden is saying and what Biden is doing is at odds. Also, not only did Biden himself do that, he literally did that this time around. Why the fuck did Israel not light up Iranian oil refineries? Why the fuck did Israel not light up Iranian nuclear facilities? Hello? How did that happen? You think Israel didn't want to do that after Iran straight up penetrated its anti-defense systems, Israel's anti-defense systems, and actually struck multiple fucking targets, 2 air bases, and the fucking Mossad headquarters? They were able to hit inside of Tel Aviv. What are you talking about? You think Israel did not want to fucking fight back against that and greatly escalate? Well, that's exactly what they did say, but I know they aren't going to do that in an election year. They need to get elected and then pressure Netanyahu because Trump will be so much worse. Man, shut the fuck up. Wake up. No, they're doing it because they want it, okay? They're doing it because they like it. They're doing it because they agree with it. Oh, they can't do that because it's an election year. What are you talking about? There is only electoral consequences in the positive direction if they were to fucking stop this shit. You have looked at 0 fucking polls on the matter. You are delusional. You do not know what the fuck you're talking about. And you are now directly at odds with the way that Kamala Harris is even communicating on this matter. For months and months, I have shown you polls over and over again showcasing that people would be significantly more enthusiastic if the Biden camp or Kamala Harris after the swap out happened were to restrain Israel. And the only way to restrain Israel is through denying weapons transfers. You're wrong. You're just objectively wrong. There is no data point to prove that you are right. You are no different in that regard from a MAGA Trump supporter. You know how Trump supporters will turn around and fucking act like, oh man, well, you don't understand, like, the elections are stolen. And it's like, well, where's the evidence for that? You know? And then they're like, oh, I don't know. They just are. You know, illegals are doing that. You're behaving like that. You're straight up behaving like that. Kamala Harris also demonstrated that she has the capacity to separate herself from Biden's rhetoric. The problem is the only time she did that was when Biden called Trump supporters garbage. Too late as far as mattering to Gaza-centered voters. That's what I'm saying, yes. Or too late to see like a noticeable bump in terms of her election day voters. I'm not MAGA. I'm a realist. It's a complex issue. They need the right voters in the right states to win. I know it sucks, but nobody likes to see how the sausage is made. No, dude, this is copium, okay? The I'm a realist position is copium. There are 0 Democratic Party voters or likely Democratic Party voters or independents or undecideds that are going, I want more dead children in Gaza. I want more dead children in Lebanon with my tax dollars. There are, however, plenty of people who go, I don't like that. I would be significantly more enthusiastic to vote for any administration that puts an end to this. That's part of the reason why a lot of people even fantasize and hallucinate that Trump would be better on Gaza. And that's why Trump is defeating Kamala Harris by like 30 fucking points on this issue. Because everyone correctly understands that the responsible party in the genocide that is occurring is the Democratic Party. They are correctly interpreting that the Democrats are responsible for it, but they're incorrectly assuming that Trump will be different. You are 100% right. If she wanted the major media networks to cover this, she's way too late. No major network is going to use their evening news, morning news about this item. The news is now locked in as election day is here. That's the only story. But for people who really care about this as a single issue and vote on E-Day, it could move some people, so I'll take any bit I can from her on this. I think it's so dumb to do it now. She should have done this months ago and then moved and expanded beyond it, because the media coverage, the contentious media coverage that she would have gotten from this would have been genuinely positive in the way that people view her. The media would be like, whoa, this is a change of pace. Ooh, drama, because they are bloodthirsty vultures themselves. So they would have been like, drama, palace intrigue, drama between, a vice president and a president. But who's more favorably viewed by the media, Kamala Harris or Joe Biden? It's Kamala Harris. They would have assumed her side on this. They would have taken her side on this. It would have highlighted her position difference. It would have allowed her to sever ties with Joe Biden, who is objectively unpopular, so unpopular that he had to drop out. Remember that. CNN is covering it only with an update. Harris kicks off final Michigan rally with pledge to do everything in my power to end the war in Gaza. That's a position that, by the way, Donald Trump has falsely adopted for the longest time. He's like, I'm going to end the war. I'm going to end the war. I'm going to end the war. I'm going to finish the job. I'm going to finish the job. I'm going to let Israel finish the job. I'm going to end the war. Some guy just said hindsight is 2020. Like, you haven't been saying this for months. Yes, there are probably 100 different instances where I have screamed about this issue over and over and over again. I've debated people on this issue. I've screamed about this issue for months. It's not fucking hindsight, dude. When it's very obviously foresight.